This time on the show, a Kindle console hacked, 3 VPN servers in 15 minutes, and a Windows decal sure to boost horsepower. All that and more on this episode of Hak5. This episode is brought to you by GoToAssist Express, DimDim, easy free web conferencing, and Squarespace.
Hello and welcome to Hak5. My name is Darren Kitchen.
I'm Shannon Morse.
And I'm Matt Lestock.
And now that we've done the Musketeer sign-off, we can encourage you to keep watching because it's going to be an excellent show. Really good one. As always.
I hope so.
But for real.
For reals.
Yeah. We took a week off.
Sorry.
It happens.
Oh wait, sorry. We went to Toronto.
Sorry.
They went to Toronto.
Yeah, how was your Labor Day weekend?
What did I do? Oh, Jack.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I did absolutely nothing, and it was everything I thought it could be.
Did you stay in your PJs all day and just like play video games?
I don't wear PJs.
So Matt was naked with a bowl of Jell-O. Just let that simmer for a bit.
Oh, God.
So yeah, you may have. We actually got some comments on 603, 604. This is what happens when we clump episodes together, shoot 2 back to back in the course of 2 hours,
and then go on vacation.
And then go on. Yeah, because we're. Whew.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what was it? Season 4. Most of season 4, we were doing 2 episodes a night, and it didn't work. I mean, it was great for us, but
Too much time warp.
it was too much of a time warp, and we decided that to get things more, you know, I don't know, in tune with feedback and stuff like that, we were going to go one a week. And
Right, because especially with 401 through 415, like there were changes like every single day. And that's the thing is with the beginning of every season, even season 5 to some extent, always takes us like a couple weeks just to feel, you know, find our stride with a new set, with a new format and all that stuff. But I think we have a killer show for you guys this week that you're really going to love. Got like console access, we got some open source goodies, we got some Windows Server stuff, we got a decal that's going to improve your system horsepower performance daily.
to make you a rock star.
Rock. Yeah, and we so yeah, we needed a week off because you know every single week, and we brought back Rickard's Red, so that makes me very excited.
It's all right.
No, dude, it's the
Love.
best.
Yeah, it's delicious. I don't know why I
I'd
like
much rather
it.
have land shark.
That's the whole reason to go to Canada for more than 48 hours, so you can, or I think it's more than 24 hours because you can bring back a 2-4.
It's I think it's 48.
My Canadian peoples know what I mean.
Canadian beef. Whatever.
Yeah, 2 2-4s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what's going on with us. So yeah, let's get right into it. Shannon, you're voiding warranties, I hear.
I am voiding warranties. I went to this blog. It's called the Reverse Engineering Blog, and they basically walk you through how to figure out how to open up the bootloader on the Kindle 1. It's just the first gen Kindle. I know that there is a new hack out for the Kindle 2.
That aired as soon as...
That aired the exact same day as my Kindle episode about my favorite
It seems
hacks.
that whenever you do this, like whenever you hack hardware, whether it's
The
the
Wii.
Nintendo Wii or whatever, like
Yeah.
like there's a new firmware, there's a new hack, there's something that comes out the same day it airs.
So
Love that.
if we want something new to come out for the Xbox 360, I just have to
should-
do some kind of hack on it, and
I like it.
they'll lower
I
the
want to do
price.
it. I want to do it.
Yeah, it's like when Leo buys a Mac and then they lower the prices.
Yes.
Kind of cool, huh?
Did he bitch about that?
Only every time he buys a Mac, but not too much. You know, just like tongue-in-cheek, like, oh, that's what
Oh,
it's
it dropped
the
in
joke.
price.
Yeah, it's like, what's an Alex? It's $700. Or what's Photoshop cost.
Wait.
We are getting way off. We're in a different realm now. Let's get back to the Hak5 universe. Sorry.
That's okay.
So you're breaking into your Kindle. Are you
I
afraid
am.
you're going to void the warranty?
A little bit.
And are you afraid that you're going to destroy it?
Yeah.
So we should probably do the segment and see how it goes.
Okay.
But first,
Let's take a break.
Yeah, that sounds good.
touche.
All right, Shannon, I've seen a lot of hacks lately with the Kindle, especially getting Ubuntu on it.
Yes.
From what I understand, though, there's Linux already on it. We're hacking that. What are we doing here?
Yeah, there is Linux on here. Basically what I'm doing is I'm turning myself into an Amazon employee, and I am trying to get in here so I can actually see the firmware and see the bootloader. I want to get in there and find the username and password and find all the different commands that I can do to this behind the scenes.
So what are we going to need to break into the Kindle here?
Well, there's a couple of different things that you will need, but luckily everything's pretty cheap except for the computer and the Kindle. The Kindle 1 is the first thing.
Right,
you
we're
also
not doing
need
the Kindle 2 here.
No, not the Kindle 2.
If you want to donate one though, right? P.O. Box 6002.
Dude, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
So then I could do the Linux hack. Yes. The second thing you need is this very flat 20-pin 0.5 millimeter ribbon cable.
Let's take a look at that
right here.
It's kind of interesting what we've done here.
Yeah, it's this little white cable. It has 20 pins on it across. And you just plug it into this little open space in the back of the Kindle. I don't know why they left this open, but they did.
Well, they've got to set their firmware somehow.
Yeah, so I think this is how they set their firmware before they actually send it out to the different people, to their different customers.
Kind of like the 4 pins on the motherboard of the Fawn router that you can get in, a little console access.
Yeah,
very similar.
Exactly. The second thing you need are some of these little jumper cables so that you can tie these to this USB to Serial TTL cable, which runs all the way into my computer.
Right. So that cable is basically taking Serial and putting it through USB so you can actually use it.
So that you can actually see what's going on your computer.
And little technical note there, it's the TTL part drops the voltage so that we don't fry anything out. So
oh,
that's
really?
Good. Yeah, and
I didn't know that part.
I've got a bunch of links and stuff to where you can either build these yourself or buy them, and they're really cheap and fun to make.
They're very cheap. The flat cable is like $2, $2.50. So it's a pretty cheap hack as long as you have the big parts already. The other thing about this flat cable is when you're starting to do this hack, you have to get rid of a lot of the different little pins. You can only have, there's about 5 different pins that you can use, numbers 3, 7, and 10 for a ground cable. So you have your receive and your transmit cables, and each of these needs to be tied into the Serial to USB TTL. The next thing you need is your actual programs on your computer. You need a driver for the Serial to USB TTL, and you also need PuTTY or some kind of configuration tool so that you're able to so you're able to change the serial port and all that good stuff. So I'll go over here on my computer. First thing I need to change is the speed, so I'm going to change that to 115/200. And then this is the COM3, which I figured this out by going over here into my computer management and device manager, and then prolific USB to serial COM port is COM3. So I changed that. Everything else stays the same. So I open that up. Now I have my command prompt, I guess you could call it.
Sure. So our terminal is listening to everything that is going across
everything that is going in here. Now, this is really, really finicky. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You just have to try really hard. Yeah.
These cables are so itsy bitsy.
Yes, they are. And I'm kind of unsure about whether I should solder these or not because
oh yeah, we'll definitely solder these.
Like on one side I'm like, yeah, solder them, go ahead and get them in place and make sure that it works every time. But at the same time, it's so finicky that you might not move it at all, but it won't work.
It won't be after we solder it. The finicky part is that we're using these little alligator clip jumper cable dealies. Yeah, and it's just that if we mess up the soldering, we have to cut the cable and it's going to be a pain.
Yeah.
So for right now, before your next segment, I figured let's go ahead and do it this way.
At least the flat cable's only like $2. So
yeah,
I could just go out and buy some more.
Should have ordered like a 3-pack
in case I
or something.
screw them all up.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have everything plugged in already, and I have these connected to their proper pins. So I just cut on the power button on my Kindle.
Okay, let's take a look here.
All right, so as you can see, it just started booting up, and it's telling me that the power switch is off. So there's still a little bit of signal coming through here.
Right, because the operating system doesn't, when you turn off the Kindle, it just puts it into suspend.
Yeah, so, you know, there's still stuff going through there. So I'm going to cut it on. Okay. Yes, it worked. This is good, because I'm so glad it worked for the first time. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so right now it's going through all the steps of booting it up. You're going to see all sorts of stuff in here. There's like email addresses and devices.
Yeah, it looks like your standard Linux boot up.
Yeah.
So is that a Linux kernel?
Yes, it's Linux 2.6 kernel, and it's ARM.
So it says, welcome to Kindle. I can type in root, press enter, and it asks me for a password. I don't know the password. I'm going to put in Fiona, which is the... Darn, it didn't take it.
That's fine.
Yeah. It doesn't like me. It's not letting me in because my login is incorrect. So it's going to keep on asking me for a login again and again. I can't get into the actual boot screen with all the different commands. It sucks.
Well, this is because before the Kindle ships out, they actually changed the password.
They do.
Which is surprising. I mean, a lot of manufacturers just release the same product with like the same password, expecting most people won't try to boot through the serial port. Go figure.
Imagine that. So it's not letting me bypass the login screen. It's taking me automatically to that screen. So I just took out the battery. I'm going to let the thing completely power off and then power back on and hopefully bypass it this time. Oh, finally.
What are we in?
This is a boot manager. Ta-da! These are all my commands, all the different things that I can do. It's called U-boot, which is kind of like Grub, that thing that you used for the USB multipass.
Sweet, so we can take a look at the partitions
There's
and
all
stuff.
sorts of things in here. Boot from NAND device, memory modify, calculate board resistance, all sorts of different things, and it's really, really cool. I just love the fact that you can look through all these different things that you're not supposed to see.
Right, and of course we can't get into the operating system, but now that we can get into the bootloader, we could potentially download the firmware, update firmware, do other sorts of stuff.
You are exactly on the right track. So I'm not going to be doing this week, but the fact that I can't find the username and password just irks me. I can't actually get in there. I can't flash files. I can't, boot up regularly from the, I guess you would say, the Amazon employee directory almost.
Right, because once we get in there, we can actually load up
Yeah.
any potential Linux applications that are compiled for ARM.
Yes! I want to get in there and I want to do all sorts of cool things that you're not supposed to do.
Sweet.
But I need a password.
So how are we going to do that?
The reverse engineering blog, the guy that wrote this, he came up with an update file that you can put on your SD card that will update as a flash update. I think that's what it's called, flash update.
A firmware update.
Yeah, a firmware update to your Kindle so that it will basically reset your password so that you can change it, and then you will know it, and then you can get in.
Excellent.
And you'll be able to do all sorts of cool things on your Kindle.
So we're doing that next week?
Yes.
All right.
Hopefully.
And
as long as I don't brick it.
Yeah. Well, cross your fingers, hope that Shannon doesn't brick it, and let's take a break, find out what's going on with the LAN party.
Hey, baby. I want to talk to you about this month's LAN party. You're going to head on over to game.hak5.org to get your Team Fortress 2 on. Some killing, maiming, destroying, maybe even some flag taking. That's how we roll. But in the meantime, you're going to head on over to hak5land.squarespace.com where you can vote for new games, talk to other gamers, and just, be a badass. So do yourself a favor. Head on over to hak5land.squarespace.com. Thanks, Squarespace. Love you, baby.
With Squarespace, you can build beautiful looking blogs or websites in a fraction of the time it would take with a traditional content management system. Their intuitive drag and drop interface is as snappy and powerful as a desktop publishing app. But best of all, there's no software to install, no databases to configure, no patches to apply, and no code to fiddle with. Find out for yourself how simple and powerful it can be with a 2-week free trial at squarespace.com. And use promo code HAK5 to support the show and save 10% off the life of your service at squarespace.com. Throughout the show, we've spoken ad nauseum about the importance of protecting yourself from man-in-the-middle attacks and having your traffic snipped and why it's important to encrypt it. And if you think it's not a trivial thing to do, I rest my case. So in the past we've talked about things like using SSH tunneling to protect your traffic, and I think it's time that we speak about retouch on VPNs. So I'm going to put together a segment for you guys now about 3 different ways to implement a VPN server in your home just using your spare PC or what have you, so that when you're out on open Wi-Fi or wherever you are, that you can tunnel back home and use that as your default gateway and use that to browse the internet and to do whatever important stuff you need so that you have an encrypted link. And it is super, super simple to set up, both on the server side and on the client side. You don't need to worry a lot about configuration, and you don't need to, it can be as easy or as difficult as you want it to be. And throughout this series, we are going to take the, the manual approach to it and get our hands dirty in Bash. But for right now, I thought I would demonstrate 3 really simple ways to get set up. So we're going to be talking about a free service that does use open source and Linux and all that fun good stuff, as well as 2 for you Windows users. And I thought that I would actually start with the simplest, and this is actually something that I've touched on, I believe it was in the first season, episode 4. But I think it's an important thing to recap, and that is that there's actually a VPN server built into Windows XP. I know Windows XP is not a server, but there's a very limited PPTP, or point-to-point tunneling protocol, VPN server built in that allows us to connect back to our home computer and, well, okay, only 1 concurrent user, but if it's just you trying to get back home and use it as your default gateway, get some files from your home PC, this might be a solution for you. So I have pulled up here 2 Windows XP virtual machines. I'm going to use one as a server and one as a client. And I'm going to show you how super simple it is to get this set up. So I'm going to open up my network connections, create a new connection, and this wizard makes it damn stupid easy. An advanced connection, allow incoming connections. We skip this part and say allow virtual private connections. And then we choose a user. We could actually add a user here if we wanted to. I'm just going to choose administrator. These are VMs I don't care about. And I'm going to click properties on TCP/IP. And this is actually where it can specify an IP range. So I'm going to give it 10.10.18.1 through 10.10.18. Well, I don't know, I'll say 20, but it's only 1 concurrent user. So chances are you're probably not going to use that many, but whatever, it's a DHCP pool. Let's give it those addresses. So I click OK here, and next, and finish. And what you'll see is that I have an incoming connection link here, and we see no clients connected. And it's, like I said, it's scaled down. It's pretty dumb. Let's come over to our client. I need to find out what my IP address is first. OK, so I'm on 10.10.0.147. So let's pretend that this machine is on the internet. And I'm going to be doing all of these here on the LAN at home. But really, to extend it to doing over the internet, it's just a matter of opening the ports in your firewall, forwarding it over to your service, making sure that everything's good there. In this case, all you would need to do is, I believe it's TCP 1743. If I'm not positive on that, it'll be there to correct me. But so let's go back over to our client machine. And I'm going to run ncpa.cpl, just a quick way to get to network connections. I'm going to create a new connection. And this is the simple procedure, connect to a workplace, that we would do anytime VPN wanted to connect to a VPN. I'm going to call it, I don't know, VPN. And it's on 10.10.0.147. Am I correct? I am correct. OK. And yeah, there we go. So I log in as administrator. And my stupid password. And I can see here, if I take a look at the properties under networking and TCP/IP, under advanced, I can see that it actually creates this. By default, it sets this as the default gateway on our network. And what that means is that my client that is connecting to this VPN is going to use this connection for all of its network routes, not just network routes that don't reside locally or whatnot. It's going to use this for everything. And that's good, because that means that we can browse the internet knowing that it's going through this secure encrypted connection. I'm going to say OK to all of these prompts. And go ahead and log in. And it's going to go super fast because it's right here local. And bam, I can see it says I'm connected. Hooray. And I got one of those nifty IP addresses that I had set, 10.10.18.2. And my server, 10.10.18.1, I could access it. Say like I had some file shares on there. I could go to 10.10.18.1, and if there were some folders shared, I would actually be able to see those. Or any other service that I may have running on that server. Or, well, I say server, but it's a Windows XP machine. And if I take a look over here, I can actually see incoming connections, 1 client, and there's administrator. Now, like I said, this is not a corporate solution. This is really just a home solution, and I believe this works very similarly in Vista and, well, if it worked in Vista, it should work in Windows 7. I haven't verified that. But you know, if you're running Windows at home and your computer's on all the time, you know, downloading your torrents, whatever it does, you want to check in on things. It's not a half bad way to do it. That way you're not sending anything over clear text. So now let's take a look at one of the more like enterprise-focused ways. So I'm going to get rid of these VMs and pull up a few others. And before we get to the Ubuntu, let's take a look at Windows Server 2003. Okay, so I have 2 Windows servers here ready to go. And we are going to go ahead and create a routing or remote access server. And that's just a fancy way to say we're going to create a VPN server that you can quote-unquote dial into. And since Server 2003, and I'm sure with 2008, my buddy here, Matt, would attest to this, that they've made it dumb simple to add services. So I actually have a console pulled up here. You see I have this set up as an Active Directory. This is salt.hak5.org. This right here is Pepper, if you really wanted to know. And so these computers, Salt and Pepper, are going to connect to each other. I've got a couple of users here. I'll create a new user in my Active Directory. I'm going to call him Bob Boberson. That's not his middle name. And that would be bboberson at salt.hak5.org. I'm going to create a lame password for him. And sure, never expires. Hooray. Okay. And I'm going to right-click on Bob Boberson and say Properties. And in the Dial-In tab, I want to allow access to VPN. Now here I can also make a few other changes. I can say, give this person a static IP address. In my segment last week, I believe I was talking about some VPN tricks you can do in Windows. And I think I glossed over this, and I'm not on crack on this segment, as you can notice, that I will slow down and actually let you know that that is something that I should have checked in that last segment, and I probably did and didn't mention. And that's an important thing. There is one thing to note about that, though, that's not going to work in a mixed mode environment. So if you're running an Active Directory domain controller, it has to be native. So you know, your Windows 2000, 2003 and above, this isn't going to, you know, so you're not going to get this option here in this menu if you've got some 98 ME clients. Like, seriously? Okay, so with that said, we could also add some static routes here, but suffice it to say, right now we're just going to allow access to the VPN. Click OK. So we've got Bob Boberson added here. Now let's make this a Active Directory, or let's make it a routing and remote access server. So I'm just going to do it the stupid easy way and go to my Manage My Server thingy and add a role. And I'm going to choose Remote Access VPN Server. Hit Next a few times, hit Next a few more times, and here what we want to do is actually set this up as a virtual private network access and NAT. Okay? Now I'm going to choose my first connection here. And yeah, I'm going to leave the basic firewall setup. And I want to actually specify a range rather than DHCP. And for me, this is just, it's going to change depending on how you want to implement it in, you know, your corporate network, or even if you're just playing at home, go download yourself and evaluate. You know, you can get a 180-day evaluation copy of the Windows Server stuff, and you know, play with it, because you know, then you can put it on your resume and tell your employers that at least, you know, we'll just play with it. So I'm going to specify a range here and create a new range, and I'm going to 10, 10, 19, 1 through 10, 10, 19.253. There we go. So I have plenty of space here. I'm on, you know, a /24, and plenty of people can connect concurrently. It's going to be great. And now I don't want to set up anything radius. We might come back at this later in the series and start talking about radius, because this, as well as the next VPN solution, will actually allow us to tie in with that. In fact, the next solution using Linux will actually let us use LDAP to tie back in with this over Active Directory. And that would be that user Bob Boberson that we created rather than Unix users. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's stay back on this. So we're not going to use the radius server. And we'll click Finish. And if I come over to my console here, I can actually add a new snap-in, and that will be routing and remote access. And I'm going to add that server, this computer. We can see Salt here, the local server, is already set up. And I can take a look at my properties here. And you can see under IP that this is my range. And under here, I can actually see what connections are made. I can manage my policies. I can turn on routing or logging. It actually shows these ports, and these are actually the different connections. I allowed 253 of them, and they're kind of like mini ports, as if I actually had a bunch of modems connected to this that you dialed into. So let's go ahead and connect to this from one of our other servers, and let's just make sure I've got this IP correct. It's 10.10.0.118. So let's say that that was a public facing. I'm going to, just like I did in XP, it's pretty much the same wizard in Server 2003. Call it Salt. Don't dial a connection. You're a server. Come on. 10.10.0.118. Is that what I said? Yes. And just like the last connection, it by default sets it up to use that connection as its default gateway. Considering this is a server-to-server thing, probably don't want to do that. But if I go ahead and click connect, there we go. And I could not verify my username and password because I am not using the correct account. Let me try that again, but this time B. Boberson. Okay, I'm going to save that. And registering my computer on the network. Hooray! And as you can see, I'm now connected. I have my IP address, and it's from that pool that we set up. I mean, I don't think it could get any easier. So there you go. 2 ways to set up a VPN server in both, your standard Windows client, XP, Vista, whatever, and your Windows Server. 2003, very similar in 2008. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, I'm going to show you how to do something very similar, something even easier in my opinion, using an Ubuntu server for free and using OpenVPN. Again, free is good.
So I want to tell you guys about a service that I use every day, and it makes my life 1,000% easier. It's GoToAssist Express. To be honest with you, couldn't live without it. Sure, there are free alternatives out there, but this is the solution that works and is absolutely bulletproof 100% of the time. If you're still going to people's houses or trying to troubleshoot people's computer issues over the phone, you're wasting your time, not their time. So do yourself a favor and go to gotoassist.com/hak5 and sign up for a free trial. It's completely web-based. There's no real installer that anybody has to install. It's just a simple browser plugin, and you can send files, you can chat, you can get a diagnostic of the PC. For this special offer, you must visit gotoassist.com/hak5. That's gotoassist.com/hak5. Try it free, 30 days.
Now that I have made Tom B shrivel in the corner and cry for all this use of Windows, I'm going to take a step back and we're going to switch over to the good side and use some Linux and some happy open source stuff so that we can do the same thing free-ish. And I'll get to the ish in a minute. We are going to be using a very awesome product that we've actually used before in the Network Monkey called OpenVPN. This is actually the way that we could get that private tunnel there on the Network Monkey with the tap interface with the Wi-Fi and the good stuff. Me and the good stuff. So I'm going to show you how to use OpenVPN in a very easy way using what's called OpenVPN Access Server. Okay, it's a version of OpenVPN that's been compiled and put together in such a simple way with a management interface. It ties in easily with your Active Directory using my favorite technology in the world, LDAP. You can do Radius, and it just makes things easy. So if, like the whole purpose of this segment, if you want to get a VPN running up in your home so that you're not insecure on your public Wi-Fi and whatnot, this might be a solution for you. So let's take a look here. What do we have? It's very easy. You just go over to openvpn.net. You choose access server download. You have to register, but once you register, it's pretty much a breeze. Now, I have it downloaded here, and I'm actually going to share that out because I have a server here ready to go. Where is that server? It's one of you. There we go. There's my happy server. Okay, so my happy Ubuntu server here on 10.10.0.255. That's the broadcast. 10.10.0.137. Okay. And I need to get this over to there. So real quick, I'm actually going to use one of my favorite tools. Tools. What's it called? HFS. Yeah, that's the stuff. So we've got HFS. It's an HTTP file server. It's a single executable, and you just run it. You pop a folder or a file into it, and next thing you know, you have basically the equivalent of an Apache server with a directory listing. So I'm going to go ahead and add that here, and this is my folder where I'm keeping my .deb here. This is the Debian package to install this guy. Love some packages. They have RPMs if you're on the Red Hat side of things. They've got it set up for just about every major distribution of Linux. I just happen to be using a Ubuntu 9.64 server here. So I've got this all set up in my HTTP file server. I can actually verify that. Oh, look at that, 295 unread messages. And go to 127.0.0.1, and I actually see that listing here. So I'm going to go ahead and wget that over from my server. So I've gone ahead and installed it with dpackage, and it's just now a matter of running the installer script. So user, local, openvpn, as, and the init. And we just have to answer a few quick questions here. I'm going to tell it to actually use our eth0, and I'm going to say yes, I do actually want to use root as my administrator. You know, for security purposes in a production environment, I probably wouldn't do this. I'd create another user just for this and lock it down. For this demonstration, we'll go ahead and use root. It quickly installs it. It's pretty lightweight. And now we can go ahead and get to our management interface. And this is the thing that I love, and that Matt here will agree with, is that one of the beautiful things, what makes a Unix tool great is a beautiful web interface. And here we are. We have browsed to our IP address on port 8443, the default port for the admin interface here, with /admin. And yes, we're going to get a security warning because the SSL and all that fun stuff, but we're going to proceed anyway. And root, because we didn't specify anything cool. And here we are. And I love the fact that we get a beautiful interface, much like you would see on like a consumer router, like a Linksys WRT 54G or something popular like that. And it's just a few quick, simple steps that we need to actually set this up so that we can start using it. So first thing we need to do, though, is actually go back to our virtual machine and create a user. So user add noob, and then pass wd for noob. We're going to give noob some lame password. Great. And so we have a new user. His name is noob, and we are going to connect to him as a VPN connection. It's going to be awesome. Where is my, there it is. So the most important thing that we need to configure here before we actually get going, aside from just the user, is actually setting it up to allow access through the internet using this VPN server here as our default gateway. So for that, we actually go under VPN settings, and we choose under routing that yes, we want to allow the client internet traffic routed through this VPN. So we'll go ahead and save that setting. Now we also, under authentication, we can take a look here that we have 3 different options here. We've got PAM, Radius, and LDAP. LDAP is, well, you guys know LDAP's my favorite. LDAP is what you could use to tie this in with an Active Directory. So if you're in a corporate environment here where you don't want to spend a lot on client access license for your routing and remote access, like I have showed you in the previous VPN setup, this is actually a less expensive alternative, because then you can start getting a little Linux into the environment and go ahead and integrate it that way. Or if you're running Radius, that's a great way too. But we're going to go ahead under PAM. There's not really any settings. What I want to do is user permissions. There it is. I want to create a new user. We're going to call him noob, because that's our user, and save him. And that's pretty much it. So now we just go back to the overview and start the server. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we start the server, there's one other important thing that I forgot to mention. Remember when I said that this was free-ish? Sure, okay, so OpenVPN, free. OpenVPN Access Server, since they wrapped it up in this beautiful package to make it so super simple to set up, has there's a license, okay? You get 2 concurrent users for free, and if you would like to purchase additional users concurrently, they're at an access license of $10 a user, which compared to a Microsoft Client Access license is so much less expensive. Or further on in this series, we'll go ahead and do it, by hand and get dirty and bash and start playing it with it that way. But I really like, if you just want to get set up real quick, OpenVPN Access Server, especially if it's just you and a friend trying to just protect yourself on that open Wi-Fi again. So let's go under license. I already have my license key ready to go. No, you can't have mine. Going to go ahead and enter that. And now we should be able to start the server. Great, so our server is started. Let's pull up one of our XP clients, and I'm going to show you how dead simple it is to get set up with this. So are we still connected to that VPN? Yes, we are. Let's disconnect from that. We don't care about that connection anymore. What we want to do is pull up our ghetto browser. No, we don't want to go there. We never want to go there. We want to go over to 10.10.0.135. Was it 135 or 137? It was 7, I'm being told. And we want to go to port 8443. And we want to make sure that this is HTTPS. And of course, we get the security dialog, the ghetto-ness, and we click yes. And we're going to log in as noob here, that user that we just created. And this is how super simple it is. So your clients, all they need to do is go to this website, log in, and they get the option there to download a client for Mac, for Linux, or for Windows. Or if they already have the Windows, they can just download the OpenVPN client config. We're going to just run this installer here. And next install. And now we have happiness on our desktop. And seriously, we just double click. It already knows who we are. It already knows what to do. I just enter in my password of lameness, click connect. It's authorizing me. I get an IP address. And I am all set up. And I can actually take a look here. And now I have an IP that I am connected through. And it is that easy to set up OpenVPN if you use the access server. The only limitation there is, like I said, with the license, you actually do have to pay a little bit if you want more than 2 concurrent users. But I hope this just gives you an idea of the options that are out there. There are plenty of these websites that offer like free VPN, hotspot, yada yada. Listen, you don't want to use one of those. You want to use something that you trust, something that you run yourself at home. Or, I mean, if you can't trust your ISP, who can you trust? I mean, if you're on Comcast, things could happen. Or Time Warner. I'm not going to leave Cox out either. I think I should digress. And say if you have questions about this or suggestions for future VPN-related topics, be sure to hit me up, Darren at Hak5.org. And if you prefer the cracked out version of Darren, let me know. I can just get the pixie sticks out next time. So I'm going to get the rest of the gang here, and we're going to wrap this bad boy up.
DimDim is powerful web conferencing with no hassles. Super easy to use, built on open source, and 100% browser-based, no software required. It's so simple, just start a meeting in seconds and tweet, IM, or email your meeting room URL. Your friends or clients click that link, and in seconds, they're in the same web conference room with you, sharing your computer screen, documents, whiteboards, even seeing and hearing you via your webcam. Amazingly, you can host, attend, even record your events with no download required, just a browser. Best of all, DimDim is free. That's right, free. So why pay for web conferencing when DimDim is free? So support the show and sign up for DimDim in just 15 seconds at dimdim.com/Hak5.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go.
All right, guys, so just before we get out of here, we want to let you know that we have a lot of stuff cooking in the pipeline or in the pot or whatever the hell you want to call it. And what we're doing is we're actually open sourcing some of these ideas that we're going to be bringing to you on future episodes.
Because Matt is a huge fan of open source.
Yeah. No, I do have to say the OpenVPN stuff.
Yeah?
Tits McGee.
Thank you. That's what I was, with the web
Like,
interface.
yeah, right
no.
there. See? Yeah.
So Hak5 Labs is an interesting experiment. I know. I think this is something that we should do henceforth. It's a great way to get the audience involved in, if you ever wondered about the production of the show, what it takes to actually put together some of this stuff, especially some of the more intricate hacks that are coming that require a lot of programming and whatnot, and want to get involved in that, you're down with the C. We could use some help. Monday the 21st, we are holding a conference with our awesome sponsor, DimDim, that's going to allow us to host a great meeting where you guys can get involved with the development of some of these segments and see our screens as we're kind of working things out. If you've got ideas of your own, we would love to hear from you. It's how you can pitch to us and how you can get a direct feed right to us, because God knows we don't have the time to idle in IRC all day. And though we answer all of these emails, you get this rich experience when you get a group discussion going on, and I think it's DimDim's a perfect platform for that kind of thing. So I'm stoked about that. Oh, and then we're using DimDim later, like next week. Forgot to mention we have a guest coming on the show next week over
right.
DimDim. That's going to show us some nifty code of his own that allows you to tie in some Google Maps APIs as well as YouTube APIs to synchronize GPS with video. How crazy is that? So you can see where you are in the video on the map next to the player. I mean, that's some crazy stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. So anyway, get in on that by going to hak5.org/labs, and that's where you can find all of the information on how you can join our meeting on the 21st. That would be the day at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
See, Darren's going
GMT,
so slow he can't even remember dates now. You see what you people have done to him? You've turned him into a vegetable.
Well, they told me to lay off the pixie sticks, and I thought I would for an episode. And I'm drinking the not German. See, I'm so confused. I'm drinking the Canadian beer.
So now, thanks to your,
17-minute, 27-minute. Come on, I'll speed it up in post.
17-minute, 27-minute. Come on, speed it up in post.
I am not able to do my segment. Aww. Thank you. But I did want to let you guys know that...
what was your segment? You can do it next week?
No, I'm going to do it next week.
Oh, okay.
But check this out. 5 extra horsepower. Right there. The sticker.
Oh my god, it's running so fast!
I know, right?
Holy crap.
Open up Task Manager. It has no battery.
Boom!
Amazing.
See?
Amazing. Look at those processes fly.
Am I Kramer now?
I'm stoked.
It's amazing.
Why am I using my hands? I don't know. Let's wrap this up. Are we done?
No, we have to let you guys know about an awesome show on Revision 3 that we love. It's near and dear to our hearts, especially Paul and I, who have been watching it for years.
It's actually the very new HD Nation. If you want to know anything about HD, about home theater, Blu-ray movies, Pat and Roger reveal the top 5 HD comic book adaptations, the proper way to install an HD TV wall mount, and why some Blu-ray movies seem to have a high amount of grain and noise in the picture. New episodes of HD Nation are available every Tuesday at hdnation.tv, and it's a ton of fun to watch. I love it.
Love Patrick, love Robert. Wow, was that perfect timing or what?
Your laptop is dead. It increases the horsepower, but we make no
Drains
claims
battery.
about the battery now.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What do you want from me? I'm not a freaking magician here. I can't, just like, wow. Even though I have made people appear and disappear,
You can feel the horsepower.
You should make us all disappear and remind us once again.
Trust your technologist.
Hey guys, what's up?
How you doing?
Hey. She's playing a video game.
Yeah.
It's a shoot day.
I know.
Go figure, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Poor Hak5 wanted a weekend off. Sorry?
Sorry, we wanted to go to Toronto.
We could borrow some beer.
God, Sorry. Wait, why am I talking like I'm from Fargo?
Smack it around some. Just leave that one being weird. Oh. There you go, Fonz. Hello and welcome to Hak5. My name is Darren Kitchen.
I'm Matt Lestock.
Cool. And we have an excellent show lined up for you guys this week. We are talking about Kindle hacks, virtual private networking. Matt has a, what is this, a performance enhancement for your desktop. And we encourage you, as always, to trust your technologists. See you next week.
Peace.
The shortest show ever.